Hey everybody, what's up and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to this video, which is technically a review, but it is actually a this or that comparison. What I want to do is I want to first of all take you through the Mini Gold palette. If you're here for swatches, for my thoughts for a demo, you will find that here, but I am going to compare them. So basically, as you see my eyes right now, I've got one eye done with the gold palette and one eye with the Mini Gold palette. I'm here to tell you that I'm here to share with you if you need this one, if you already have this one. So a lot to go into in this video. So like I said, this is going to be a review on the Mini Gold, but we're taking it a step further. So if you're interested in all of that information, then just keep on watching. Alright guys, in typical dazzled or disappointed fashion, let's just go into the Mini Gold palette, the product that you're probably here to take a look at. So the box comes like this. It's really nothing super spectacular. Actually, probably this is one of my least favorites of the boxes, but I mean, we'll toss this. So it's got the layout of the eyeshadows on the cover, and then it's got like ingredients and stuff on the back. It's like a matte black. It's actually nice in the sense of how it feels. It is made in Italy. It does have a shelf life of 24 months, which again is consistent with her products, and you get 5 eyeshadow shades. I'm trying to find on here. Here we go. You get 0.8 grams at 5 shadows, or 0.028 ounces also at 5 shadows. So that's the box. Then you've got the little baby right here. Nothing different as far as her mini 5 pans go, but let me just dive you real quick into the Sephora website so that we can talk about the details and pricing and all that good stuff. So it is $25 on par with her other minis. It is limited edition. Here's what's weird is that it says limited edition on the Sephora website, but if you go like to Temptalia's blog, it says permanent. So I'm not sure which. I'm going to assume it's limited edition. I just don't know that for sure. It says it's a mini eyeshadow palette featuring gold and green hues in matte, shimmer, and duochrome finishes. You guys know Natasha Denona is cruelty-free, and this palette features extraordinarily rich pressed pigment shadows for maximum color payoff. Each formula is hydrating and smooth for optimum texture and comfortable all-day wear. So we've got that there. Now let's just go ahead and go into the palette itself. Again, if you are familiar with her little mini 5-pan palettes, then you know them to look like this with a clear acrylic cover. Same as her larger 5-pan palettes. I love this type of packaging. I think it's kind of nice to be able to see the shadows through the cover, and the cover is a very good sturdy acrylic type of packaging. Then you've got like the inside, I don't know what it's called, the back, and then where the pans are held. It's like a chrome or metallic gold, so obviously in theme. So let's just go ahead and go into the swatches. I will right off the bat tell you that all of them are very, very soft. They're very soft and silky to the touch, but let me grab these shades and I'll be right back. Alright y'all, here are the 5 pans of product. You've got Lodge, Dark Sepia, Dior, I don't even know, Bia, I don't know, and Thea. I struggle with pronouncing her shade names, and I know they all mean something. I'm just not well versed in, anyways. So let's just go ahead and take a look at these. Here you go. So definitely, as the description said, a lot of green tones in here, and you can already tell that by the swatches. These are one swipe swatches for pigmentation purposes. So that's that. Now it's time to go into the demo portion of this video, because it's going to be a little bit different than what we are used to. So let me look in the mirror real quick so I can remember. This eye right here is using the Mini Gold. This eye right here is using the regular gold palette. Let me open this up and I will compare them for you, or I'll show you a comparison kind of side by side, just so that you can see them up close and personal. So hopefully you can see that. I'm not in view of the viewfinder, so I hope it's not chopping off or anything, but that is what those two look like. So let's get into this demo so that you can see how I came up with this, and so that you can see the similarities and the differences, so that you know, like hands-on, like, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I'm losing my words, but let's get into the demo and we'll worry about that later. So we're going to start off with the Mini Gold palette, and we're going to go in with that mossy green shade called Beige, and I'm taking a fluffy blending brush and just diffusing that out a little bit. I only went in once. I only dipped in my brush once and got quite a bit of color payoff. Next, I'm going to go into the duochrome shade called Anastasia, and I'm placing this on the sort of outer portion of the lid, and then here shortly you will see that I place it on the inner portion as well, just leaving a little space at the end to deepen up the look, to smoke it out a bit. Next, going in with the shade Dior, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, going in with my finger. This is what I consider to be the standout shade of the palette, and just placing that in the middle. Next, going in with the shade Dark Sepia and a blending brush. This is, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to place this on the most outer portion of the lid to deepen and smoke it up. Now I'm taking another blending brush and just kind of softening those edges. I packed on quite a bit of product, so I just want to soften that out. And now I'm going back into the Beige shade. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Something tells me I'm not. And I'm just adding a little bit more so that it can peek through. Going back into that same shade and a denser brush, I'm placing that on the lower lash line just to tie it all in and pull it all together. Okay, so now it's time to move on to the regular gold palette. So first off, we are going to go in with the shade Dijon. Makes me want a sandwich. And a blending brush, and just placing that in the crease as well. I did go into this a couple of times because I was looking to build it up a little bit. So I did do that. And next up, I'm going in with the shade Aurora and a shader brush, packer brush. Also placing it sort of on the outer portion of the lid as well as the inner. Same story as before, leaving some space at the outer to deepen it up a little bit. Next up, I am going to go in with the shade Brass. This is the standout shade that is most similar to the one in the mini palette, and this is what I'm placing with my finger on the middle portion of my lid. Now it's time to deepen that up with Python. Going in with a blending brush, and just as I did with the other eye, placing this on the most outer portion of the lid. And again, grabbing another blending brush just to kind of soften that up a little bit, just so that it's not so harsh, so there's not as much product just focused all in one place. Next, I'm going back in with the shade Dijon, and you're seeing a pattern here. I'm doing the same thing as I did with the last, just peeking that through just because a little bit got lost in translation. Be back, and here's the final look for both eyes. All right, y'all, I hope you found that helpful, enjoyable, useful, whatever the case may be. First off, let's just go into the thoughts on this one, and then I'll take you into the comparison and if you need this one based on owning the larger one. So first off, I always start with the mattes. I've already talked about packaging. I really love the packaging. So that is that. Let's talk about the mattes. They are super silky, soft, very, very blendable. I find them to really, especially this green, to build very nicely. Quite frankly, when I did the demo with this eye with that shade in the crease, I only went in once. So, I mean, very pigmented, very easy to work with, very easy to build up. I mean, that was the desired intensity I wanted. You could easily layer it. They layer so, so nicely. Keeping in mind, those are the only two mattes in this 5-pan palette. Next up, let's go into this standout shade. So this one is what is going to be the closest to, what's this one called? It's called Brass in the large gold palette. So this one right here, and then this one right here are the two like really standout, sparkly type, just punches of like not even color, but punches of gold. So that's that, and that is the standout shade in this one. At least that's what I think. It is very, very pigmented, metallic, just really easy to apply, whether it be with a finger or a brush. And you guys know I typically like to go in with my finger like I did in the demo, but I have used it with a brush and it is just beautiful. And I know a lot of y'all prefer not to have to go in with your finger, so just know this is an easy application with a brush. Same thing with this one, and I actually was very surprised when I first used this one and it went in as saturated as it did with a brush. It didn't look dull, it didn't take a lot of building, like the color went on like that. And so So definitely was very pleasantly surprised because these types of blue-brown shades tend to look a little bit muted on me, and this was absolutely the opposite of that. Super intense color payoff, easy to apply with a brush. The last one is this dark one right here. I really like this one, and I like it to really smoke out the look. I like it to really deepen it up. It is like a satiny type of shade, maybe a little bit more than just satin, and very, very easy to, again, build up, blend to the touch. It's very, very soft. So are you seeing a pattern here? They're all very soft, very buildable, easy to use, easy to apply, go on like a dream with a brush and a finger. So for $25, this is a dazzled, and I would say right off the bat, if you don't already own this, then you need this. I'm especially excited because this is an easy travel palette. So I typically will tell you when I review Natasha Denona palettes, don't travel with them. They're so soft, the pans of product are so soft that they break so easy, and why would you want to risk breaking your $129 palette? Don't even risk it. But these actually fare very well with travel. I've traveled with the mini nude palette, and then this one, when it came in, it was rattling in my Sephora box. You know how they do with their packing, which, you know, so it's kind of hit or miss whether you're going to get a broken item or not. And this came totally intact, which I was highly surprised. I will also say it came in nicely packaged with a Natasha Denona box on the outer, but didn't come broken at all. So I definitely think these are perfect for travel, not only because they can withstand a little bit more, but because they're nice and small, and you pack such a punch with these shades. Now let's go ahead and go into whether or not you need this, if you have that. So going into this one, obviously you're going to have a ton of variation of gold in here. It's the gold palette. You're very limited in a 5-pan palette. You're not going to have as many options. What I will tell you right off the bat, that the only true similarity I found was that standout shade that I showed you a little while ago. This middle one and then this end one. If you swatch them, let me swatch them side by side for you. If you swatch them, you will see there is a little bit of a difference. A little bit of a difference. One looks a little darker than the other. One looks a little bit brighter than the other. So that's what they look like side by side. And I'm going to show you. You're going to be able to tell right there. This one looks a little brighter than this one. So definitely a small variation, but nothing super crazy. And I will tell you, this top one is the one from the gold palette. This is from the mini gold palette. So the difference, honestly, is so slight that once you put it on your eye, there really isn't, you can't really tell a difference in the tone. So, like, if I look at my eye look right now, they look very, very similar. I will, however, tell you, the one in the main gold palette is highly more sparkly. I mean, beyond. This one, I can tell, it looks like a disco ball. This one looks a little shiny and highly metallic. Shiny in the sense of like sparkle. Highly, highly metallic. So that's really how I can tell right off the bat. Like if I'm looking in the mirror right now, which I am, I can tell this one has a ton of sparkle. This one is a little more subdued on the sparkle, but is crazy metallic. So that is also a huge difference. Aside from the similarities of the tone, the huge difference is the sparkle versus not so much. So I guess it just kind of depends on that, and like maybe that's a deal breaker for you, maybe it's not. Aside from that, I will just tell you that that is the only true similarity that I found. This mossy green right here, there is nothing like that in this palette. The reason I used this matte shade right here is because it's a little bit more on the yellow side. They both, this is funny, is that I would both describe them as pukey colors, because this is like a pukey green and this is like a pukey brown yellow. So they're both pukey colors, but this does not have something like an olive army pukey type of green. So that's definitely a standout as far as a difference. This dark one right here, this dark brown, there is the only truly dark shade in here is this turquoise shade, which I used on the outer portion of my lid over here. Definitely, you saw the difference. They're not even comparable. As far as this blue-brown shade, there is nothing in here like that. I will tell you there's like a gold-green shade that's kind of a duochrome, but nothing as far as a shift for blue-brown or blue-green. I keep saying blue-brown because of the MAC pigment, but kind of like a brown-green is what I should say. So that is that. And then the only other thing is this shade right here which is something that you would typically use in your transition. I'm going to show you what I feel to be the closest in the gold palette, because I mean, I guess you could see a little similarity. I find the one from the mini palette to be a little cooler than the one from the gold palette. So those are those two, and let me give them to you side by side, and you can definitely see this one right here from the gold palette is warmer than the one here from the mini palette, but definitely somewhat of a difference, nothing like outrageously different to where you couldn't achieve the same thing while using both. But that is really in a nutshell. I also forgot to tell you that 4 out of the 5 in this mini palette are new shades, brand new shades. So to me, it was worth it to pick up for the $25. A lot of times it really makes me think twice if I already own one shade, and I definitely, hands down, don't pick something up if I already own 2 shades within a palette. The mini Lila palette I didn't pick up, the mini Tropic palette I didn't pick up. I own the big ones, and there wasn't like really anything of a difference for me to be able to, or for me to warrant picking it up for $25. This one definitely 4 out of 5 I think is a pretty good number, and I'm okay with that. So at the end of the day, I'm so happy that I picked this up. Do I think you need to pick it up? I don't think so, especially don't pick it up if you're really going for this middle shade right here. If you own the gold palette, this one's already super, super sparkly, and as far as tone, they're highly similar. One's a little brighter than the other, so it's not worth it for you to pick up just for that shade. If you're picking it up because you're interested in having these two together in one stop shop, that I think is awesome. I love greens. Greens make my eye color pop. I tell you this all the time. Purples, greens, and reds, like cranberries, just my eye color like leaps out. So I knew I wanted it also because of that green. I mean, I think something like this is something you can find anywhere. And then this is a beautiful shade, but it's not like it's anything unique. However, overall, I think it was different enough for me to warrant picking it up while still owning the gold palette. So, you know, I mean, it's kind of, I really don't think you need this if you have that. I really don't, but I will tell you there are perks to having it. A couple of new shades that I'm really going to put to use. The quality is absolutely beautiful. Now I'm going to travel with this. I sometimes want to take this with me, and I'm not going to. I'm not willing to risk something I paid so much for. So now I can take this. I'm so excited. And again, for me, it's a little bit different enough to warrant picking it up for the $25 price tag. So all in all, I don't think you need the mini if you have the large, but at the end of the day, it also depends on how much of a collector you are, how much of a lover of the brand you are, how much you want just 2 or 3 of the shades out of that palette that you really wouldn't find differences for, or that you would find differences for from your gold palette. That's that, you guys. I hope you found it helpful. I feel like I just rambled, and I'm not sure if I made my point super clear, but hopefully you got the gist, and hopefully this helped you make a decision on whether this mini gold palette is right for you. All right, my friends, I hope you found this video helpful, enjoyable, entertaining, whatever the case may be. I hope if you did that you'll give it a thumbs up, as that really, really helps me out, and it only takes a second. And I hope this isn't the first and last time that we get to talk about makeup. I hope you'll consider subscribing if you are new to my channel, as I'd love to see you back here and be able to talk all things makeup. Now it's time to give you a real quick verse of the day. If you don't want to hear, you're more than welcome to click off. It's really just in an effort to tell you that I love you, and that Jesus loves you, and that everything is going to be okay no matter how dark your world is right now. I have been there, just know that, and it's my prayer that this just help encourage you. Today's comes from 1 John 5:14, and it says, "This is the confidence we have in approaching God, that if we ask anything according to His will, He hears us." All right, my friends, I hope you're having a most wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos. Love each and every one of you. See you soon. Bye.